namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World Web Talks 215th episode. In the last 214 episodes, more than 3,000 school leaders have shared their ideas, opinions, innovations, and what all new are they doing in the education space on this very platform. तो नमस्कार, आप सभी का स्वागत है ब्लब वर्ल्ड वेब टॉक्स के 215वें एपिसोड में। पिछले 214 एपिसोड्स में करीबन 3,000 से ज्यादा शिक्षाविदों ने इसी प्लेटफॉर्म पर अपने आइडियाज, इनोवेशन शेयर किए और ये बताया कि वो शिक्षा को कैसे बदल रहे हैं और शिक्षा उन्हें कैसे बदल रही है। तो आज के अगले 60 मिनट जो आप हमारे साथ में हैं, विल ट्राई टू नो फ्रॉम आवर स्पीकर्स टुडे समथिंग वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। कुछ बड़ा रीसेंट एक फिनोमिनन है जिसने पूरी दुनिया को पूरा उलट पुलट कर दिया है। बहुत सारे डिस्कशन, बहुत सारे जो स्टैंड पॉइंट्स थे, जो पर्सपेक्टिव थे, वो बुरी कदर से चेंज हो गए हैं। वी आर लुकिंग एट थिंग्स इन अ कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट मैटर एंड रादर वी कैन से द शेप एंड फॉर्म ऑफ आवर परसेप्शन हैज बीन लॉस्ट. We are trying to give it a new form and trying to understand the relevance of humans to the face of this earth. So thank you so much everyone for joining us today. Let's start this discussion. But before we start, just some ground rules. First, the Blub World Web Talks is a bilingual platform. तो आप अंग्रेजी या हिंदी में से किसी भी भाषा का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. कोशिश करें कि इन्हीं दो का इस्तेमाल करें, that you don't use a third one because I might not get it. Secondly, it's like a speaking sprint. So the speaking time is limited. So once your speaking time is over, you might get muted. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It's just to keep the activity interesting and engaging for everyone. So put your best foot ahead and make it a 100-meter race. Thank you so much everyone once again for joining us. Let's start talking about replacing textbooks with ChatGPT. Why this topic actually, found its genesis is pretty simple. हम जब बचपन में छोटे छोटे बच्चे होते हैं, उस समय पे हमारे पास बहुत सारे सवाल होते हैं. उन सवालों का कोई जवाब नहीं देता और फिर हमें किताबें पकड़ा दी जाती हैं. So let's try to know from the school leaders, from the teachers, that let's not give them a textbook, let's give them ChatGPT. Would it work better because it's answering questions for millions of people across the world? Would it help children more or would it help less? Let's try to know from our speakers today. Let me invite the first speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Dr. Manpreet Singh Manna, the Pro Vice Chancellor for Chandigarh University from Mohali, Punjab. Manpreet sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thank you very much. And I don't think I should make any kind of आगे की पीछे की बातें ना करते हुए सीधा मुद्दे की बात करेंगे, क्योंकि आपने घड़ी चला दी है और राउंड दी क्लॉक बात करनी पड़ेगी. 3 मिनट की बात करनी है जो 3 घंटे में भी शायद पूरी नहीं की जा सकती. हम बातें कर रहे हैं पाठ्य पुस्तक. We are talking something about the books. First of all, I would like to put one thing over here. When I was going to bring a swam for my country, India, world's the largest MOOCs platform. जब राष्ट्रपति जी ने मुझे उसके लिए अवार्ड दिया और ये पूछा गया कि स्वयं क्या देश बदलेगा, मैंने कहा सर देश तो पहले ही बदल दिया मोदी जी ने, स्वयं तो बदलेगा ही बदलेगा. लेकिन मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि चॉक एंड डस्टर कैन नेवर बी रिप्लेस्ड. चॉक एंड डस्टर कभी रिप्लेस नहीं होने वाला. डिजिटल मोड रहेगा, ब्लेंडेड मोड रहेगा. सिंपल सी सरल सी बात है. घर में से जब बच्चा सुबह निकलता है स्कूल के लिए तो मम्मी कहती है बेटा बात सुनी जरा, ये वाली गोली खा ले. मामा ये क्या बेटा, ये सप्लीमेंट है, ये मल्टीविटामिन है. मामा क्यों बेटा, तू हरी सब्जी नहीं खाता है, तू खीरे नहीं खाता है, तेरे मैं कहती हूं कि शाम को तू दूध पी, तू दूध नहीं पीता है, तो तुझे ये सप्लीमेंट लेना पड़ेगा. इट इज अ सप्लीमेंट्री. अगर आप पाठ्य पुस्तक को बदलने की सोच रहे हैं या पाठ्य पुस्तक को साइड पे रखने की सोच रहे हैं तो ये हम शायद कोई गलती करने जा रहे हैं, ये नहीं होने वाला. लेकिन मैं ये भी कहूंगा कि सिर्फ पाठ्य पुस्तक से भी नहीं पढ़ाया जा सकता. दिल मांगे मोर. आज बच्चा कहता है जो भी चाहिए मुझे स्क्रीन पे चाहिए, कहता है पापा गिव मी मोर. दिस इज व्हाट. क्यों? पहले इस्तेमाल करें फिर विश्वास करें. तो इस्तेमाल करके विश्वास कर सकते हैं, उससे पहले आप नहीं कर सकते. कहने का मुद्दा यह है, हमारे शास्त्रों ग्रंथों को ऑथेंटिसाइड करने के लिए हमारे धर्म गुरु हैं. अगर कुछ कृष्ण जी ने कहा तो वो लिखा गया है. जो रामायण में लिखा गया है वो बिल्कुल सत्य है, एक एक कण. तो जब आप मशीन लर्निंग से, मान लीजिए कि डॉक्टर मन्ना सुबह से लेकर शाम तक जैसे तोते को रटा दिया कि तोता चूरी खाएगा, तोता चूरी खाएगा. अगर मैंने गूगल पे 50 बार दिन में बैठ के कोविड का नाम जो मैंने खुद बनाया था, जो उसका मैंने कॉपीराइट भी लिया, अगर वो मैंने डाल दिया ना, तो कल आप जैसे कोविड लिखेंगे ना गूगल पे तो आपको कोविड की नई परिभाषा मिलेगी. उसको ऑथेंटिसिटी कौन करेगा? डॉक्टर मन्ना को क्या अधिकार दिया कि कोविड का नया नाम लिख दिया? क्योंकि 5000 बार जब मैंने कोविड लिखा गूगल पे, उसकी डेफिनेशन को नया नाम लिखा, तो ये क्या है? ये रोबोट है, ये मशीन है, ये वही समझेगा जो मैं पढ़ाऊंगा. तो मशीनों से किताबें तो बन गई हैं, गूगल आपको रिप्लाई तो देता है, लेकिन मेरा हाथ जोड़ के सबसे निवेदन होता है, गूगल को डॉक्टर मत मानिए, गूगल को ऋषि मुनि मत मानिए। गूगल को सिर्फ इतना पूछिए कि भैया टिकट कहां से मिलती है, बस कहां से मिलती है, वो गूगल सही बता देगा, रास्ता भी बता देगा, कई बार नदी के अंदर जाके गाड़ी खड़ी करवा देगा। ये भी गूगल से हुआ कि नदी के अंदर गाड़ी उतर गई है। तो क्या करते हैं कि जितना हम मशीन पे जा रहे हैं, इसको यूज करना बंद कर दिया। मुझे अपने डेट ऑफ बर्थ भी याद नहीं रहते, मेरे को अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी भी याद नहीं रहती। बीवी कहती कैसे पति हो, क्योंकि गूगल मुझे बताता है, मेरी एलेक्सा। अब तो मेरी बीवी ये मानने लगी है कि मेरे से ज्यादा आपको पसंद आपकी सिरी होगी, जो मेरे मोबाइल में रहती है, ये आपकी सबसे बेस्ट गर्लफ्रेंड है। बस मुझे इस बात की खुशी है कि ये प्रेग्नेंट नहीं होने वाली है, क्योंकि वो सिरी है। द फैक्ट इज दैट कि हम अपना गूगल असिस्टेंट, अपना एलेक्सा, अपनी सिरी और आपका जी पैड, ये जीपीटी बहुत अच्छी चीज है। कहां पर अच्छी चीज है? अगर गांव में मैं अच्छी लाइब्रेरी नहीं लेके जा सकता, अगर गांव में मैं स्कूल नहीं लेके जा सकता, तो जो मेरा एक बेसिक लर्निंग है, एलिमेंट्री टीचिंग है, मेरे बच्चे को इतना मैथमेटिक्स आना चाहिए कि उसको पता चले कि मेरे पापा को कोई गलत हिसाब नहीं लगा रहा है साहूकार, जब मेरी मम्मी को बैंक में जाके अकाउंट कैसे खोलना है, उस लेवल तक के लिए ये जीपी चैट बहुत जरूरी है, होनी चाहिए। लेकिन इससे आप शोध नहीं करेंगे, इससे आप कोई धर्म की नीतियां नहीं चला सकते, राजनीति नहीं चला सकते। उसके लिए आपको आयुर्वेदा पढ़ना पड़ेगा, आपको चाणक्य नीति पढ़नी पड़ेगी। हाँ, उसका डिजिटलाइजेशन करना है, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग। डिजिटलाइजेशन करना अलग चीज है, लेकिन नया बिंदु लेके आना। हमारी गुरबाणी में बोला था गुरु नानक ने, मर्दान्या रबाब छेड़ गुरबाणी आई है, दैट इज अ बाणी आई है। सो इट कम्स फ्रॉम दी अनदर वर्ल्ड, यू नो, दैट हैज टू बी गेट प्रूव्ड। तो ये जब चीजें होती हैं, जब हम कोई बात कर रहे होते हैं, जब मैंने अभी कोई कंटेंट बोल दिया, आपको लगता है मैंने किसी किताब से पढ़ के बोला है? मैंने किसी किताब से पढ़ के नहीं बोला, और ये मेरा खुद का है, मेरा कॉपीराइट है। तो कल ये रिकॉर्डेड आप जितनी बार चलाएंगे, 10वीं बार 6ठी बार वो कहेगा सर मजा नहीं आ रहा है, क्यों, फीका पड़ गया। तो पहली बार जो सुना था वो बात ही अलग थी। तो हमारी जो एक पीयर इंटरेक्शन होती है, एक ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन होती है, दैट इज अमेजिंग। मैं फिर कहता हूं, इट इज अ सप्लीमेंट्री एडिशन, इट शुड बी द पार्ट ऑफ माई टीचिंग एंड लर्निंग, and it cannot replace the textbooks, which I am strongly adding over here. That's it.
Thank you so much, Manpreet sir. An amazing power-packed start. That it could be a supplement. ये आपका वो extra multivitamin हो सकता है, but ये core textbook नहीं हो सकता. From the advertising lingo, पहले इस्तेमाल करें, फिर विश्वास करें. So let's try experimenting. But ChatGPT के साथ एक नया challenge ये है कि अगर आप आज उसे इस्तेमाल भी करना चाहें, तो there is a waiting list because the bot is not ready, the load is too much. So let's try to find out कि क्या टेक्स्ट बुक अभी भी अपनी प्रिस्टीननेस बनाए रखेगी, क्योंकि सवालों के जवाब किताब नहीं दे पा रही, लेकिन चैट जीपीटी दे पा रहा है। एंड व्हेन वी टॉक ऑफ रिसर्च, यस, चैट जीपीटी हैज क्लियर्ड एमबीए एग्जामिनेशंस इन बिजनेस स्कूल्स इन द यूएस। तो काफी कुछ बदल रहा है, बट सम अमेजिंग ओपिनियन। थैंक यू सो मच सर। लेट मी इनवाइट द नेक्स्ट स्पीकर फॉर टुडे। अ वेरी वार्म वेलकम टू प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर अर्पणा वाजपेयी, प्रोफेसर एंड एसोसिएट डीन फ्रॉम पीपी सवानी यूनिवर्सिटी, सूरत, गुजरात। Ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Good evening, everyone. It was really good interaction with Professor Manpreet Manna, and I'm really convinced what he has said. Books are having its own importance. Yet it's also a fact that with AI machines help us to automatically think, learn, and accumulate experience for autonomous functioning. And it is having larger or vital role in the advancement of education. But at the other side, it is also having its limitation. अंतःकरण की आवाज, जब हम कहते हैं अंतःकरण की आवाज, तो वो उससे बिल्कुल नहीं सुनाई देगी। हम पढ़ते बुक्स का है, इसके बाद जब रिलेट करते हैं, तो वो कितना रिलेट उन बुक से ही सिर्फ मैकेनिकली होता है, उसे सोचने की जरूरत है। So when we talk about human cognition and gaining accumulating knowledge for its own use, then it can only help us as a database. It can provide us a big source of information in the form of knowledge management or other forms of database. But when it comes to the application, it's always human cognition which is having a dominant role to analyze, accept, and forward. Along with this, being a psychologist, I also would like to say books are also having importance in reducing insomnia and some other psychological disease. These are research findings. The people who read books, they are having less possibility to suffer from insomnia kind of diseases. Even in old age, they can keep their memory better than the people who are not reading books. So it's having its own importance. Our brain centers are more opted to receive information from books in place of screen. Another thing is that there are few things related with the information which are receiving from the screen. One, the information which you are receiving from a screen is really correct or not. It's a very important aspect. Many times information is manipulated or contaminated to directly believe in. And often viewers are not checking the information, they are just believing in the information to see that it's from Google or from other data source. This is one fact. Another fact is that, which is really alarming us, in the form of nomophobia. Nomophobia is one addiction because of screen. Often people think that they cannot live without screen, and it is causing many problems. If you see the whole European world, the biggest disease these days is depression. Depression due to isolation. By putting us or involving us with the screen more and more time, and it's having features to attract human cognition very effectively, often we are alienating ourselves from the society and the people to interact, and that is causing anxiety and depression among us. So these are some disadvantages. Yes. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Aparna ma'am. And yes, books might be helping us in meditating. They might be increasing focus. They might be making us calm. Bhavishya mein, they will actually be enhancing your memory and helping you remember things much better. There are a lot of benefits that come from books. ये हमें काफी हद तक establish हो रहा है सारे speakers से कि हमारी किताबों पे reliability and the kind of trust that we have on that is absolutely unshaken. But I think with the unfolding of more and more things around things like AI and OpenAI and ChatGPT, there are more things and more avenues that can be explored. Let's try to know it from the next speaker that the real question that can we really try replacing the books right away with ChatGPT? A very warm welcome to Mr. Abhinav Nanda, the Head of Admissions and Marketing for DIT University from Dehradun. Abhinav ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Hi, greetings everyone. So straight away, let's discuss. Thanks, Daksh. So the point is that ChatGPT is based on an algorithm. And algorithm, it's not a gospel of truth. What it is getting the information through the World Wide Web, the internet, whatever there is stored. Now you are asking any question, let's say anything. Now it will go and it will give you an instant answer. It's like a kunji. जो हमारे पहले होता था, एक कुंजी होती थी. I think old people might be remembering. एक कुंजी होती थी जो पूरी टेक्स्ट बुक का वो सिंपल उसमें क्वेश्चन होता था और आंसर होता था. तो ये एक कुंजी तो बन सकती है, लेकिन टेक्स्ट बुक बनने में उसको वो नहीं बन सकती. टेक्स्ट बुक इज समथिंग विच इज द एग्जैक्ट फैक्ट विच इज इन डिटेल. उसके लिए पढ़ने के लिए बच्चे को डिटेल में जाना पड़ेगा. डिटेल में उसकी क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग उसकी अपनी उससे इंक्रीज होगी. बिकॉज व्हेन समबडी आस्क्स यू क्वेश्चन, देन यू हैव रेड द चैप्टर, you will understand that what is being asked, and accordingly you utilize your own critical thinking. ChatGPT perhaps can give you a quick, fatafat, instant answer. So, and it can be right, it can be wrong. गलत भी हो सकता है. मैंने खुद देखा है. I have asked ChatGPT, it gave wrong answers. Many times it gives wrong answers as well. So the answer can be wrong as well, and it's not a gospel of truth. Hence, it's like we have to use it, but we again, if we want to use it, let's use it as a template of something, and then build over it if we want to. But yes, again, another point is that it is in the very initial stages. अभी just आया ही है, नवंबर में लॉन्च हुआ था, अभी just अब इंडिया में आना शुरू हुआ है कुछ समय से. तो धीरे धीरे I believe it will give more, we will understand it in a better way. But absolutely one thing is clear, it can never replace textbooks. And हम लोग कहते थे कि यार जो लंबा वाला रास्ता है ना, वो बढ़िया रास्ता है. हम कहीं आते वक्त हम शॉर्टकट में ज्यादा बिलीव करना शुरू कर दिया है. तो ये भी एक चीज है कि हम शॉर्टकट्स ले रहे हैं. तो गूगल ने हमें कुछ शॉर्टकट्स दिए, अब चैट जीपीटी और शॉर्टकट दे रहा है. अब उस शॉर्टकट से डिसएडवांटेज ये होगा हमारी अपनी क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, हमारा एनालिटिकल वेज, वो सारे धीरे धीरे कम होते जा रहे हैं. हम किस तरीके से इसको आगे एनालाइज करेंगे, आई थिंक ये एक बड़ा एक डिस्कशन का विषय है कि कैसे इसके बेस्ट इफेक्ट्स को यूज करके हम आगे इसको लेके चले. आई बिलीव, I think mera whatever I have to say, this is the crux. We absolutely, we can't replace with textbooks. और समुंदर में मोती के लिए डुबकी तो गहरी लगानी पड़ेगी. ये कुंजी की तरह है जो हमारे समय में जो होता था, जो मैं इसको एक क्रक्स दे रहा हूं, समराइज कर रहा हूं. लेकिन अगेन आगे आने वाले टाइम में इसमें क्या नई चीजें आती हैं वो देखने की चीज है. बट आई थिंक ओवर डिपेंडेंस ऑन दिस इज एब्सोल्युटली, आई वुड से इट्स नॉट गुड फॉर अस, नॉट गुड फॉर चिल्ड्रन, नॉट गुड फॉर द कमिंग टाइम्स. दैट इज फॉर श्योर.
थैंक यू सो मच अभिनव जी. एंड यस, इट कुड बी लाइक अ सप्लीमेंट अगेन, या ये इसको आप जो पासबुक आती है वो पासबुक कह सकते हैं. इट विल गिव यू अ क्विक आंसर to some of your questions, and sometimes those answers could also be wrong, because अभी तक एल्गोरिथम के पास जितनी इंफॉर्मेशन है उसमें बहुत सारी फेड इंफॉर्मेशन भी है जो केवल प्रोपेगेंडा या किसी और कारण से उसे दी गई है थ्रू गूगल और whichever search engine it's using at the back end. So I think it's a good supplement. तो अभी what we knew was basically the perspective from the university leaders, जहां पे वो active learners के साथ engage करते हैं. Let's try to know it from the passive learners कि schools में ChatGPT का क्या impact होगा. Because one thing that we know for sure, that anything new that comes into the market is first touched, experimented, explored by teenagers without thinking of the pros and cons of it. So let's try to know it from the school leaders. What do they think? Let's compare ChatGPT and textbooks in schools. A very warm welcome to Colonel Avinash Singh, the principal of Rajkumar College from Raipur, Chhattisgarh. Avinash, sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
I am totally in agreement with the past 3 speakers, Dr. Nanda, Dr. Manna, and Professor Vajpayee. I'd like to add something. When a child at the formative years of 3-4 years joins a school, and there's a class of about 20-25 students, all the children are thinking differently. They have their own way of thinking, their own identity. And by the time we finish up with them in class 12, most of them are thinking along the same lines. So firstly, there is a requirement of trying to understand that there's something called creativity or critical thinking, which is ingrained in a human being. Now, machine learning or machine tools or AI-driven instruments are basically giving you answers which have been kind of data processed. Where is the creativity? The creativity of, say, ChatGPT has also come from the humans. So we cannot replace the human element in teaching, learning in human relationships by no technology whatsoever. During COVID time, there were videos circulating that we can now replace the actual teachers with all virtual kind of lessons, and the studies can go on. We are not differentiating between education and literacy. Literacy, likhna padhna, is about 5 to 7% of the education system, because the rest of the 90-95% education that we imbibe is from feelings, from emotions, from one another. Out of the class learning is much more than in class learning. So from that context, if we see all these, I'm not talking about ChatGPT per se in particular, but I'm talking about all these machine-driven learning or tools which are available, like Google is there so far, and now the ChatGPTs are basically I'll put it a refined form of Google, which is giving you kind of customized answer to your questions. Firstly, it's an age of misinformation and disinformation. So you don't know what, and they will customize their answers in such a manner that even a wrong answer will appear to be very right. Secondly, the age appropriate content filter. How do we define that? You know, everyone will say I'm over 18 and press that red button. So it is a very, very sort of dangerous kind of a thought of replacing textbooks and everything by these machine learning tools. They are supplements. they can always add value to education, but they can never be taken as the solutions to education. So I will keep it short because my predecessors who have spoken have already covered most of the aspects. But I will only like to reiterate I have now been in the HR line, the human resource line for 38 years, 22 in the army and 16 in school line. So from there, I can tell you whether it was looking around for Bin Laden by the US, or they're thinking that they can use the smart weapons and win over a country. You see where the technology has taken US. They have not won a single war in the recent 40, 50 years. Even Iraq, they just bombed out. And then they went in. So you require humans very much in all aspects of life, including education. The technology is there to assist the humans. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Avinash sir. And I think a very interesting fact that you added to the discussion, ki even when you are at war, only technology won't help. You would need humans. When you look at the example of even the US, जो अभी डिफेंस में टेक्नोलॉजिकली दुनिया में सबसे एडवांस कंट्री माना जाता है, on the track of which India is already there. We are doing a lot in defense research as well. But I think it's very important to understand that how in every aspect, we are trying to understand the implication of ChatGPT, the relevance of humans, and how textbooks and our content that currently exists, how are they correlating, and how is that body of perception changing around us. Thank you so much, sir. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. Bharat Singh Bhadouria, the principal of Sri Swami Narayan International Gunateet Vidya Dham, Navsari, Gujarat. Sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
First of all, good evening, one and all present over here on this platform. As all the speakers already spoken about that GPT, ChatGPT. I think if we can see the Google and all, as sir also said, it's the advanced version we can say for the Google. But I think, now we can see there's a viral is going on everywhere, like people are worried, teachers are worried, what about if they give question answers and all to the students and all, the students will take this help of this GPTs and all, they'll give the answers and teachers will be like feeling difficult to correct those answers and all. But I think after or means when this is only the starting only, we cannot say, and you said like it is launched in November also, right? I think after the time, maybe some tools or something will come up so that we can check the answers and all, whether this answer is copied or whether this answer is written by own. So this type of corrections will be there. So I think the policy makers will also think on that if these things are going to come in the future. Policies भी उस पे आएंगे, कुछ changes होंगे. But whatever कुछ भी हम जो study करते, that all we are studying for our good job or our good status and all. And for the job, you can see so many companies that they work on the skills only. If you got anything or any marks or where the percentage are not not valid, right? People, they have to go as per their skill level, as per their the subject, whatever they have given to solve and all in the industries and all, as per their going and all. So I hope these things are there for the GPTs and all. And but textbook, we cannot replace this tool. Also will not replace the textbook from the education system, because textbook reading is different.
Thank you so much, Bharatji. The reason the Blub World Web Talks is shaped in such a way that all the strata and all the different perspectives come to the same forum, because when we talk of the same topic in a tier 1 city, the perception changes, in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, it completely changes. So let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. R.V. Bhardwaj, the Director for MM Public School from Asand, Haryana. Sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Good evening to all the educators, and thank you for making me a person to participate in this event. I have heard all the gentlemen and the lady speaking by now. I give one contents, and my contention is that any technology at the best should be used to remove the incapabilities of human beings, and it can never be replacing human brain. But ChatGPT as of now is being considered as a threat to human brain. And what I say that, as told by Mr. Manna in the very beginning, that the books which have been written far time back, say 5,000, 3,000, 400 years back, the content is authentic there. But how we can rely on the content of the books if they are replaced by ChatGPT? So in my view, I don't think that we should replace the books. And there are, I have pointed out three main reasons for that. One is that availability is not yet universal. Availability of ChatGPT or the technology, AI, whatever it is not yet universal. And we cannot think that a person living far in jungles, studying, the students studying there, will be able to use this AI and all ChatGPT, etc. Second reason, what I think that the authenticity of content is not available, and it will never be available, as pointed out by Mr. Manna also. And we often see on Google also, the last में लिखा होता है कि विचार जो है वक्ता के अपने हैं या राइटर के अपने हैं. We do not guarantee the authenticity. And third, security of the content. मैंने एक किताब लिखी, बहुत अच्छी लिख करके जो ना मैंने दे दी, जो ना it can be changed anytime. जैसा सबको पता है, cyber security is also a problem somewhere. हमारे ग्रंथ हैं, हमारे जो विचार हैं, जो हम लिखते हैं, जो ना they can never be changed. कभी भी उनको जो ना आप AI के माध्यम से, अगर वो किसी प्लेटफॉर्म पे अवेलेबल है, तो कोई भी उनको चेंज कर सकता है, जैसे कि हैकिंग के दौरान किया जाता है. So I don't think that the book should be replacing AI or the ChatGPT, etc. And at the best, it can be an assistance to human brain.
Thank you so much, sir. किताबों की authenticity और किताबों की ये क्षमता कि उनमें काफी कुछ बदलाव तुरंत नहीं किया जा सकता है, ये उनको अभी भी credible तो ज्यादा बनाते हैं. But ChatGPT कुछ capabilities, not specifically ChatGPT, but yes, online AI automated bots, इनकी जो reach है, it is growing every single day, and now we need to understand कि how do they really come into the education space? क्या वो as a plugin आएंगे, as a threat आएंगे, या हम उन्हें पूरी तरीके से reject कर देंगे? This is something that we have to understand. Further, let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mr. Senthil Kumar, the CIAE coordinator for the GK World School from Ranipet, Tamil Nadu. Senthil sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening and warm welcome, everyone. Let me start directly. I have come across ChatGPT very recently through a news stating that an application who has crossed 1 million users within 5 days. Whereas, the other famous applications such as Netflix, Facebook, Spotify, and Instagram have taken on an average from 2.5 months to 3.5 years. That's where I have started using the ChatGPT. And honestly speaking, it has reduced my work, at least 5 to 10%. Say for an example, whenever I wanted to send a circular, or whenever I wanted to report something, or whenever I wanted to offer something as tips, of course, this is, really helping me out. But what I said is, it has reduced, my work, only up to hardly 5 to 7%, but it has not come down to zero. The same has been, witnessed from the students. So I can say that, it is one among the 8, but not only the 1/8. In addition to that, yes. So when it comes to the ChatGPT, it is working with prompt. So the word, or the word or request, that I'm entering into ChatGPT as input, if it remains the same, even the child, who is studying in kindergarten, the reply that are being offered by the ChatGPT remain the same. Fortunately or unfortunately, the information that are being required by me and my son is entirely different. And the other one is books are an aid. It's an important aid which are being created according to the curriculum, assessment objective, as well as the curriculum philosophy. So what happened, when it is being offered when the informations are being offered by ChatGPT, it could be in general, but not, specific to the ages. And at last, pictorial representation. I strongly believe that, there is no books, without any images. When it comes to visual learner, especially, the lower secondary or, the primary students, I mean, before they read the content, they will come to an understanding, what may be inside, by looking at the picture. But ChatGPT, does not offer, any pictorial representations. At last, it is the ChatGPT, has another name, which is called, Google Killer. So as a conclusion, I don't know, whether it will kill, Google or not, as it has, 90% market share in the market. But definitely, it cannot kill the textbooks. So with this note, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Senthil sir. Yes, it has reduced your workload by 5 to 7%, but not eternally. It's not the final aid. It's a good tool. And I think a very important element that you brought to the discussion, that ChatGPT and most of these chatbots, they don't bring visual representation to the conversation, which is very essential to the humans, because even when we look at Google and whatever search engines or whatever content we consume online, a majority portion of it is videos. So when we talk of content, this is the least preferred content type or text. It could be manipulative. It could be very, specific in certain areas. But again, it is not age specific. It is not customized, personalized to your current need, which Google does to quite an extent. And one thing that's for sure, that this is not the Google killer. One thing is for sure, that this is the Google parasite. So let's try to know from our next speakers, what do they think? A very warm welcome to Dr. Stella Pandhare, the director for Billabong High International School from Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh. Stella ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes, and a very warm welcome.
Thank you, Daksh, and a very good evening to everyone. I'm very pleased to share this platform with stalwarts for discussing one point, that is the time-honored tradition of textbooks. Will it be replaced from the ground up by ChatGPT? I remember, Daksh, that we had a discussion when the pandemic happened, and the teacher tribe had shifted to, I think, Zoom and Teams and other platforms. Yes. So even then we thought that the teacher would be replaced. Will all these platforms replace teacher? I don't think anything can replace the traditional methods ever. Like they all rightly mentioned, it could only add on value to the teaching methodology, but it could never replace the traditional methods. However, I feel this is an opportunity to rethink education in the age where artificial intelligence is thriving. We cannot deny the fact that it is thriving and it is bringing about a lot of revolutionary changes. I would say during the COVID, we had like a renaissance that happened in the teaching field. It was a renaissance and reformation that happened because teachers who have been teaching for the last 40, 50 years and have used only the chalk and talk method, they had come back to the technology. They had to learn technology from scratch. Yes. And didn't they do it? They did. Yes. So ChatGPT again, that has come. It is only going to supplement the way the teacher is going to engage the learners in transacting the teaching and learning. It is not going to replace it, is what I would say. If the question is AI a threat to education? I don't think it is a threat to education. I would say we have to revisit the way we are transacting learning in the classrooms. So like he rightly said that it has reduced a lot of his work. Yes, something that he has to do manually, he is using these things to ensure that learning is accelerated. So it will accelerate learning. Now, will it replace textbooks? I don't think so, because like he rightly mentioned, if we type the same things or we prompt the same things, the answers will appear in the same form for everyone who's prompting with the same words. So it's like when you go to a mall or when you go outside, you find people wearing the same kind of dress that you're wearing because they're buying from the same mall or from the same shops. Yes. So the answers would be, typecast. It won't be something that comes out of the creativity. So digital literacy is very important. Information comes our way, but how are we going to use that information for our own benefit? That is something that we have to use our critical thinking, analyze and do that. So I don't think that it is going to replace textbooks, because like I come from a Cambridge background as well. I am the director of a Cambridge school. And whenever we give research to the students, whenever we give case studies to students, they have to go through a lot of sources. And there are points which are awarded for the relevance of source. Yes. So that is very important. So what is relevant? We usually take the books as the most relevant source. Even Wikipedia is not considered the most relevant source. Even Google is not considered as a relevant source when we award them marks. So yes, digital literacy for the learners as well as the teachers, it is very, very important. Whatever comes our way, how we do it. So one cannot replace the other. I think they have to work hand in hand in order to ensure that the learners benefit the most. This is my take, I would say, on the topic today.
Thank you so much, Stella, ma'am. And yes, the learner and the consumption of information and how do you process it is more critical than just the information that's coming to you. Digital literacy is important. When you talk of research sources, that also puts a perspective to the discussion that is ChatGPT really a credible source of information? But when it shows its capabilities in MBA examinations, I think there is when people say it to be a credible source, because people are right now writing research papers out of it. There was a recent news in one of the newspapers that people used it to write love letters on Valentine's Day. So people have used it for doing anything and everything. So that's why it now needs to be considered on a serious note that where does it fall in the galaxy of education and textbooks in the space of education. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today. A very warm welcome to Mrs. Suryavati A.N., Principal of Harvest International School from Bengaluru, Karnataka. Ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute yourself and a very warm welcome.
Thank you, Daksh, and all my fellow participants. I would begin, I have started using this ChatGPT for the past 1 month, I would say. So with my experience, whatever I have had, I was constantly, I'm a digital learner and I always look for embracing technology and how it can enhance, especially after the pandemic. So from a teacher's perspective, is what I would start with, because most of them have told about the textbook and children and other things. From a teacher's perspective, it's a wonderful tool, is what I would come up, because when you give instruction to ChatGPT and tell, could you produce a worksheet using Motu and Patlu, it comes up with a beautiful word problem in mathematics, which the teacher probably either does not know how to do it due to paucity of time, or it's an aid for training also. Like I also tell my teachers that Twitter is one of the best PD offline where they can learn. ChatGPT also is like that, is what I feel. Yes, some of the answers are wrong, but that's where the human element comes in. That's where we can actually look into it and we can do it. I asked ChatGPT to write a lesson plan, right? Again, I'm coming from a teacher's perspective. And within seconds, here you are with a beautiful lesson plan wherein activities are suggested, learning outcomes have been given, learning objectives are given, and how the entire thing, 40-minute period. It all depends upon what kind of algorithm you are feeding it inside, right? So today we are sitting in, when we enter any classroom, we are with these youngsters who know all this much better than the teacher. So what is the role of a teacher in kind of, bombarding, when they are bombarded with a lot of this technology? One, you got to upgrade yourself, experience it, see that, and then come in wherein you bring in those elements. Can ChatGPT actually give us a prescription if you're not well? It cannot do it, right? Can ChatGPT give a reflective answer? It cannot do it. So these are the elements, I think, as educators, accepting it. First thing is we have to accept it and then educate the children in the classroom that we can't do this. Like even if you're presenting a research paper, where is your element? Where is that element of humanness which has to come in? Fine, you have brought in all these things, but then where is it? So that is where I think today's educators have to train our children inside the classroom. Yes, ChatGPT cannot replace the textbook. It cannot even be a reference book, if you ask me, because reference books also give the correct answers. There are certain things which are wrong there. Yes, but it can be kind of a cartoon-related storybook, which does bring in that curiosity. If I'm asking, can you list 10 Indian authors who authors books which my child of grade 6 has to read, it gives us all the details. From there on, how to improve it is what I think we need to look at. So I have embraced it and I liked it. And it's time, I think, we all get onto it. Yes, it's not the thing, but.
Thank you so much, Suryavati ma'am. And I think you have given a good cheat code to all the teachers that if you have to create a lesson plan, if you need a worksheet, ChatGPT is the place to go to, find your solutions there, make your life a little more easier. So I think, but a very important perspective that was missing in the discussion is that how do teachers use it as a tool? Because we are the people who are considered to be more wise in decision making. We know what content is wrong, what content is bad for us or good for us. How can teachers use the tool and how can they maximize their output out of it? Thank you so much, ma'am. So now it's an open floor. If you want to add something, you can add. But before we go in for and completely open for Manpreet sir, any closing thoughts that you want to share in the talk?
Yeah, thank you very much, and I must congratulate you that you brought such a great speakers today, and everyone was in line, in tune with the topic, and they have experienced themselves before they are going to put some words over here. That makes the authenticity of the words. Yes, ChatGPT, it's a single line comments from everyone. It should be the part of our learning, but to the level of learning which we are going to get it, that is important. If it is going to be available for the primary school education, then it's a different scenario. When it's going for the higher education or research publications level, it's going to be different, and it's evolving. And I'm sure in coming days and months and years, it is going to take a new shape with our inputs. This kind of recommendations will come to the research people, those are doing day and night working on it, because it's a marketing tool. And finally, it has to be capture the market only. We already made a part of it as a Google with us. Sure that the humanization of education to the stale. If it is going to be happen, it is going to be an alarming situation, especially for my country, India, because all kind of skills which comes from the human mind, it's coming from India only. So our skills can be enhanced, skills can be made successful if we are going to use our brain very steadily and very effectively. Of course, we need this kind of a digital content. We are going to be getting the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manpreet, sir. I think, yes, when we look at India, we look at it as a human capital country where we have a lot of intellect that can be utilized for taking the world and as a country ahead. And when we look at ChatGPT, it could try trumping that, but I think we need more deeper work in the perspective of technology to trump a nation like India, which has so much of intellectual capital. Aparna ji, you want to share some closing thoughts before we go into an open floor?
Yeah, I would like to add, with all the discussion we had today, it is having its importance for many kind of raw work to supplement the work. And but we should not forget that ultimately the human brain and cognition is in the top spectrum, number one. Number two, the vulnerability of information. We have never think of that if these many information we are providing to our teenagers, our youngsters, how it is going to affect their mental development, which is a big area to work on. The studies are saying these days children are getting mature very quickly. They are getting the information through all these tools very fast, which they should not get. So a control in that, it's need to be observed and it need to be implemented. जिसे हम कहते हैं प्रकारांतर प्रभाव. आप उन छोटे बच्चों को दे रहे हैं जिनके हाथ में पूरे विश्व का ज्ञान है, पर उनकी उस मन स्थिति के अनुरूप है कि नहीं, वो प्रकारांतर ज्ञान का इफेक्ट नीड टू बी आइडेंटिफाइड in terms of their psychological development as per their age, or I may say as per the developmental norms of development. So this is one thing which is missing here, and we need to work on that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Aparna ji. Context is very important, and कौन से बच्चे को किस उम्र में क्या content पहुंच रहा है, that is very important, which you talked about, प्रकारांतर ज्ञान, yeah, which we can also say management का concept है that a place for everything and everything in its place. So are we really placing the right content in the right place, or is it just content for everyone? This is something that has to be worked on, talked on more, because now curation has become a more critical element of online education than content creation. कंटेंट बहुत सारा है, आप सिलेक्ट क्या कर रहे हैं, फिल्टर क्या कर रहे हैं, वो ज्यादा क्रिटिकल हो गया है. एंड क्यूरेशन एज अ स्किल is not taught, is not known, is not talked about. So now it's an open floor. Anyone who wants to add something, please just unmute yourself. This is an open floor for all the speakers now. If you want to add anything, अगर आप म्यूट कर दिए गए थे, कुछ ऐसी चीज है जो ऐड करना चाहते हैं या कुछ ऐसा है जो आप जोड़ना चाहें डिस्कशन में, तो it's an open floor.
I would say, sir, one thing over here, like we have complement and supplement in the mathematics, right? This cannot be a complement, but it can be a supplement for the, because technology is growing, so this is also the part of learning next level, but completely it will not replace the textbook system. This is what. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, Bharat ji wanted to add something. Over to you.
Yeah, Daksh ji, मैं इसमें 2 points ऐड करना चाहूंगा. मेरे घर में एक छोटा बच्चा है, 8-9 साल का है, हवाई जहाज उड़ाने तक के वीडियोस देखता रहता सारा दिन, लेकिन वो हवाई जहाज तो नहीं उड़ा सकता. अभी उसके हवाई जहाज उड़ाने के लाइसेंस देने की या ट्रेन करने की एज तो नहीं है. तो वो हमारा दिमाग सारा दिन खाता है कि जो मुझे आप ये दिलवा दो, ये दिलवा दो, वो दिलवा दो। ये मुझे लगता है कि सबके घरों की आज के दिन कहानी है। और ये जो अब हमारे पास एक डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म्स आ रहे हैं जो ना, उनकी देन है, मेरा अपना मानना है। जो दूसरी चीज है कि बहुत जल्दी बहुत कुछ सीखने के बाद हमने देखा है बहुत सारे बच्चे बहुत जल्दी जो ना बहुत कुछ सीखते हैं और बाद में जो ना उनका जो डेवलपमेंट होती है वो प्लेटू हो जाती है, बिल्कुल ऐसे समानांतर चलती है। जो तो इससे मैं डार्विन की एक थ्योरी है जो ना, जो सर्वाइवल ऑफ द फिटेस्ट एंड जिसको कहते हैं डेवलपमेंट, ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट की जो थ्योरी है जो ना, वो सारी मतलब जो ना एप्लीकेबल होती है। तो ह्यूमन ब्रेन के डेवलपमेंट के लिए उसका यूज होना बहुत जरूरी है। जिस प्रकार से जो ना इंसान की पूंछ जो है बंदर से इंसान बढ़ते बढ़ते गायब हो गई, जो ना कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि इस एआई के यूज में हमारा दिमाग ही गायब हो जाए।
थैंक यू सो मच। आई थिंक वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ऑल्सो पॉइंट कि कहीं लेमार्किज्म अगर हमारे दिमाग के साथ लग गया, क्योंकि लेमार्क की थ्योरी यही थी कि जो चीजें यूज में नहीं आएंगी वो खत्म होती जाएंगी। इफ यू डोंट यूज इट, यू लूज इट। So this could also be a progression towards losing our brain, because we've already lost our mind when we talk of online content. So we've listened to everyone and sabhi ke bahut sare bade amazing kuch baatein thi. I think this is a discussion worth that even the ChatGPT people can listen and try to understand the kind of product development that they are going through. वो भी किस stage में है, उस product को कहाँ ले जाना चाहते हैं. If you make a product intuitive, which they claim कि भाई हम AI को ऐसा बना रहे हैं कि वो बहुत ज्यादा ह्यूमन हो जाए, तो ह्यूमंस कैसे हो जाएं, इस पर बहुत सारा काम एजुकेशन को करना होगा. Thank you so much all the speakers for joining us today. It was an amazing session. I hope you enjoyed. And if you want to attend the future sessions, open your audio, say a big yes. And thank you so much for being a part of the Blub World Web Talks 215th episode. I'm Daksh, and thank you so much, everyone. Namaste. Have an amazing evening ahead.